Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling.
The president is doubling down, saying, I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States. The president says he will be ending federal benefits for non-citizens, denaturalizing migrants who he says undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who poses a security risk.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, we got to talk about Donald Trump and his change of heart. If we can call it that, because I believe he's had this in mind from the very beginning, but he needed a reason to pivot, and he got it based on the recent assassination of Sarah Beckstrom in Washington, D.C., the National Guard's woman who was unalived by an Afghan immigrant who should have never been in this country. They said, oh, well, in Afghanistan, he cooperated with the CIA, so that allowed him entrance into the country. No, that is not the process. We have a Joe Biden administration that he wasn't even running himself. We had people in that administration who were running it through an auto pen, signing executive orders and whatnot, allowing folks into this country and whatnot. Joe Biden had no idea what was going on. That's why they ran him from the basement during the election process. Every time he stepped outside, nobody was showing up to his events, while you had tens of thousands showing up to Trump events. That's why Americans know. Ain't no way this man won. Ain't no way this man got a record of votes. No, this election was stolen in 2020. But now we are able to reconcile some wrongs that have been done under the Joe Biden administration. And it is about time, because during that 4 years, y'all, they have let some people into this country who never should have been here. Enemies of America that are in this country and surrounding us and not assimilating, but enacting their third world social policies on us. They think it's okay to assault you in public. They think it's okay to grape American citizens. They think it's okay to commit unaliving of Americans. Why? Because it's never been corrected in their third world society, and now they're here among us with no vetting, with no screening, and they think their actions from their country is okay. Well, we got to deal with it. So Trump issued a statement just recently saying, I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover. Well, good on you, Mr. President. It's about time we got somebody in the White House who's willing to take corrective action that is needed, because we have been infiltrated, not only by these third world countries, but by China and by Russia on every level, societal level, governmental level. Y'all remember Fang Fang? Google it. Because the United States politician who let Fang Fang get into her circle is now running for governor of the state of California, in which I live. Y'all, this government is so corrupt. Something has to happen. Something has to happen. So I'm glad we have a president who is making things happen.
About, are we going to see an escalation in charges? Oh, there's no question. First of all, our hearts go out and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of a beautiful 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, who answered the call to serve her nation. And she volunteered, and she ended up being shot ambush style on the cold streets of Washington, D.C. By an individual who will now be charged with murder in the first degree. There are certainly many more charges to come, but we are upgrading the initial charges of assault to murder in the first degree. And we are hoping that the more information we can get and the more investigation that is going on 24/7 now, around the clock in Washington, the more we will find out about what actually happened in terms of this individual even being in this country and being in a position to ambush and shoot down an innocent young woman who was doing her duty to the people of this country.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked. There were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go. We were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake. But they weren't. Many of these people are criminals. Many of these people are people that shouldn't be here. And many of them have been gotten out. I mean, we've gotten out a lot of the people that, we've taken a lot of them out of here. But they came in legally, right? Yeah, I know this deal. Sorry, many are wonderful. Yeah, no, I'm sure.
I said many are here legally, though. What should they think in terms of their prospects?
Well, they can't be happy. Okay, they can't be happy because what's taking place between that. If you look at Somalia, they're taking over Minnesota. And we got a lot of problems with the gangs, with all of the things taking place in Minnesota. We have an incompetent governor, we have a dope governor. They can't be happy about what's going on. And if you talk about the Afghans, there's a problem because so many bad ones came in on the planes. They just walked in. Whoever the strongest people were physically in a way, but whoever the strongest, they got on the planes. There was no checking. They just swamped the planes. They took off. We had no idea who they were. Yeah, do you want to ask a question behind?
Me? Hi, sir. Happy
Sure.
Thanksgiving.
Hi.
What do the Somalians have to do with this Afghan guy who shot the national?
Nothing, but Somalians have caused a lot of trouble. They're ripping us off for a lot of money. There's a tremendous amount of money going back to Somalia. What the hell are we paying money to Somalia for? But they're ripping off our country at a level that few people have been able to see before. Mm-hmm. That's about the only thing. You talk about competence. We have Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country and our Constitution. And she comes from a country with practically no country. It's devastated. It's crime-ridden. It's a mess. It's a disgrace. And we took their people at a tremendous. We're not taking their people anymore. We're not taking their people, and we're getting a lot of their people out because they're nothing but trouble. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Go ahead.
Of course, when you have a president who's going to take strong action and do the corrective things that are necessary to get America on the right track, you're going to have politicians, crooked politicians who have proven themselves to be crooked, who rise up and try to take control of the narrative and say, oh, the president is wrong. His administration is wrong. We are right. Listen, y'all, if you have ever been to Minneapolis and seen what is going on there with the Somali immigrants that have taken over that city, if you have ever been to Dearbornistan and seen all of the Muslims that are taking over there and got people waking up, good, wholesome Americans that are waking up to 5 a.m. prayer calls that are being announced loudly through the city. Nothing they can do about it because you got Muslims who have taken over the city council. Oh, they run that area. We need a president, y'all, who is willing to go into these places and take corrective action, because we have been infiltrated by invaders to American society. I don't know any other way to put it. I know it's not popular on platforms like this, them folks platform, but that's what it is. We have been infiltrated by enemies. Enemies outward that have been allowed to operate because of enemies inward, enemies within. America will not be defeated by enemies outward. America will be defeated by inward, internal enemies that allow outward cancers to infiltrate American society. That is what we're dealing with, y'all. I hope you see it. I hope you realize and recognize what is going on. And I hope you take corrective action by getting off that Democrat plantation and voting the way you need to vote. I know it ain't perfect, but it is the only option that we have to take corrective action in this society.
Gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis, not only in Minnesota, but across the country, in danger. And if the president believed that, and he had evidence, he would take people to court. So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize whole communities, while the ignorant people that support him then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact. We've seen it during the campaign where he said Asians were eating cats and dogs. We've seen his vice president repeat those lies. We've seen the media run it as a headline as if it was a fact. That is shameful. That is shameful. That is ignorant. It makes us look like a stupid nation that does not believe in truth, but traffics in lies. It makes the world mock us, and we are better than that. We are better than that as Americans.
In terms of where things stand this morning, there are some questions about specifically all these countries, right, that the president has referred to, which he calls, quote, third world countries. When we look at the reexamination process, there is also, Eugene, there is a concern about focusing too much on the country and what the ripple effect could be for those who are here in the country who are not a threat. How do you see this playing out?
Well, that will be a real issue that we've already seen risen by Afghan communities and the associations that welcome and help resettle refugees. There's a real concern about keeping Americans and immigrants safe, how the Trump administration goes about doing that without harming and discriminating against those who have come here to actually be, as he would label it, an asset to the U.S. isn't yet clear. There's some concern that he may not be able to do that in a way that is fair, but he hasn't detailed his immigration plan yet in terms of how he's going to keep Americans safe. And I assume that there will be pressure on him to clarify that.
President Trump has also ordered the government to re-examine the green cards of thousands of people. He listed 19 countries of concern, including Somalia and Burma. Minnesota has a large number of immigrants from both places. There are about 140,000 green card holders in Minnesota, according to recent estimates. WCCO's Connor White has more on the impact to Somali people living in Minnesota.
The president using a portion of his address to the nation Wednesday night to target Minnesota's Somali population.
Hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state.
He's also directing a review of all green card holders from Somalia and threatened to end temporary protected status, or TPS.
Billions of dollars are lost, and
Activist Christopher Rufo is claiming credit for catching the president's attention. He co-authored this article in the conservative City Journal, claiming Somali terror group al-Shabaab received millions of dollars from the high-profile fraud schemes in Minnesota.
This story has no legs, unfortunately, but it is an attack.
Jilani Hussein, a Somali American leading the nonprofit Care Minnesota, calls it an Islamophobic smear campaign. He points to findings like this one on a similar issue from 2019. With the Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor unable to substantiate the allegation that Minnesotans sent money stolen from a state child care program to a foreign terrorist organization. The report acknowledging it was possible, but they didn't find any evidence.
Do you have any reason to believe that there's any truth to this idea that dollars are flowing from Minnesota to this terrorist organization?
Absolutely not, because one of the things that's a lot easier to track is money.
While dozens of people of Somali descent face fraud charges or have been convicted of fraud, the government has not brought forward evidence that any of the defendants are funding terrorism. Instead, the cases focus primarily on people trying to make themselves rich.
But this is the old tricks of divide and conquer and to stew fear.
In Minneapolis, with photojournalist Tony Peterson, Connor White, WCCO News.
I want to go to Kelly O'Donnell now, who is traveling with the president. She is in West Palm Beach, Florida, as he is spending the Thanksgiving holiday at his Mar-a-Lago home. And Kelly, can we start with here the latest news from the Trump administration that they're going to look at, we mentioned it at the top of the show, these green card holders from what they call countries of concern. We're just getting an update on what those countries are, what this means. This is a potentially very significant development, right?
It is significant because it will go far beyond just this incident with the attack in D.C. involving these two National Guard members who are in critical condition. This subjects other green card holders who have gone through what we know is a rigorous process to achieve that high level of status, which is allowing people to live and work in the United States for an extended period of time on a pathway to citizenship. By reviewing all of those cases from what the administration calls countries of concern. And they have defined those countries in specific documents. It includes Afghanistan, of course, but it also includes some of the countries that you would expect to have terror concerns or unstable governments, things like that from around the world. But that means other green card holders, and the suspect in this case was not a green card holder, but an asylum recipient, not yet to the path of a green card, but it's going to review many more people. And so this gets into the administration's very robust view of immigration policies and the stronger tactics that they're bringing to bear. They're also saying that they will do a review through Homeland Security of all Afghans who've been admitted to the country. And so not only Afghans, but these other residents who are green card holders from an array of countries, 19 of them. So this will have farther reaching implications for many immigrants in the United States.
And there you have it, y'all. We find ourselves in a situation where we have a pro-America administration, an America First administration. And we got to lean into that because we understand that we have gone through a presidential cycle that allowed America to be infiltrated by its enemies. I know that's hard to believe, y'all, but you had a Trojan horse in the presidential seat, in the Oval Office, that allowed America to be infiltrated by its enemies. It is treasonous. I know. But here's the situation. You knew Joe Biden was old. You knew Joe Biden was decrepit. You knew Joe Biden didn't have his mind about him. There were people behind the scenes that were working at AutoPen, that were working on things behind the scenes, impersonating the president. We need to find out who those people are. See, ain't nobody went to jail yet. That's why people like me are still disgruntled with the situation. Because even though we say we got our man in there now, we got our administration in there now, they're America First. Well, how come these criminals still ain't went to jail? What's going on in American society where corrective action seems out of reach? Y'all, I still have faith in the American system. I still have faith that this cowboy, this Yankee is going to do the right thing at the end of the day. But I need to see some corrective action. Because even Comey got charged the other day and then a judge dismissed it. What are y'all going to do? Because we as Americans have come to the realization that we don't really have that much power in this system, if any at all. We need our elected officials to take action, to do the right thing. That's why voting the right way matters. Getting off that left-wing Democrat plantation matters. And they thought they could flood this society with illegals, give them the right to vote so that they could overwhelm the system, break the system. Well, y'all, it was allowed to happen under nefarious circumstances. And now this corrective action is going to hurt a little piece. Whether you on the right side or the wrong side, it's going to hurt everybody. But it must be done. I hope that this administration finds a way to put the medicine in the candy, put the medicine in the Kool-Aid, so it's a little more palatable. But at some point, we're all going to feel the pain. But we can lessen the pain by getting these illegals out of this country who never should have been here in the first place. So I support Donald Trump and this administration in their actions. I hate that a National Guard's woman had to die in order to trigger this. Should have went on from day one. But here we are. And I'm glad that we're here because corrective action is taking place. Let's lean into it, move forward, and make this country great again. Y'all let me know what you think about this. I'd love to know your thoughts, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.